Did you read that thing about the guy carrying the
Well, we're not on camera.
No, don't. I like seeing the fruit though.
Yeah.
Bruce, you don't have.
I do. It's right there on the table.
You all got so quiet all at once. Why?
Everybody see us. We should sit closer together.
Is your sound up?
Still got 4 minutes to go.
When was the last time this area was reset?
2014.
So it's been 8 years.
Yes, exactly. Hi, Margaret.
Look at that.
Now that I've shocked everybody into attention, sorry. Can you hear me okay? Marty, you're holding your ear. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We could hear you.
All right, whoever is on Zoom, please mute yourself so everybody can hear. Okay, good evening for those of you who are here for the siding replacement presentation. It's been 8 years since we've done your zone, so we're actually a little bit overdue. The good news is, and you'll be seeing the schedule tonight, so you'll know what's happening, because this is going to take months to get through this. But we're using a new product, and Paul Reeves, who I'm going to introduce in a second, can tell you about it, which we are told will last longer than the current one we're using. So, and it doesn't appear to be any more expensive. So that's good news, and hopefully we won't have to do this any sooner than we have in the past. So with that, I'd like to introduce our construction manager, Paul Reeves. And Paul, the show is yours.
Okay, good evening, everybody. And I met some people here a few months ago when we did the selection to hire the contractor. And we have him here with us tonight, plus his two supervisors. So again, I'm Paul Reeves. I'm your project manager, and I am the one representing you to the contractors doing the work. So if you don't already know, to get to this point, it's scheduled maintenance to do siding repairs and other dry rot repairs for the trim. And we're doing fencing repairs. And then once we're completed repairs on each building on this year's cycle, we'll also be doing the fences, and then we'll be doing complete exterior paint. So we're going to make this real brief and then field questions from everybody. I'm going to start with Bill Schuman, who is our representative with CPR construction, critical path reconstruction. We have Caesar, who's one of the supervisors, and we have Mike, who will be my daily counterpart from CPR here on a daily basis. So we're all filthy. We've all been on jobs. We were on jobs together this morning. And this is what we're going to look like every day, sweaty and dirty and in our work clothes. So this is where we're at. We're going to start. Also, Brian is moving chairs. Brian is our representative with Kelly Moore Paint, and he's here also to answer any questions. So yeah, and he's doing a great job with furniture. So we're going to get started here. One of the things that we're going to bring up immediately, especially with Bill, is he has laid out a path of travel of where he's going to start and the path that he's going to go and follow along as they go from one building to the next. We have a schedule. It's in the office. We'll get them out later. With the path of travel map and the schedule, we'll get out later. You want this one?
Yeah, as you're leaving, I'll have a handout for you so you can have that information at home. And then for the folks on Zoom, I'll also put it on the website along with the recording of tonight's meeting. So it will be available.
Okay, so Bill is in charge of the schedule, so I'm going to let him speak about it more in detail. He's got the first 10% of the project, first 20% scheduled out on a timeline. And how this is going to go is you're going to see postings on your building, and he'll explain where he's going to put them. And then in about that same time, either a week before or right within a day or two of the posting, Mike and I will be coming around the buildings marking what gets replaced and what was included with the RFP. And if a homeowner has brought something to our attention or we've discovered something that got missed during the inspections, they will also be marked, and you'll see hieroglyphic writing on the walls. And that will be another notice to you to let you know that we are getting closer to your building. So please feel free at any time. There's going to be contact info on the postings. Please reach out to us if there's something that you think is going to get missed, or if we're on the property and you see we haven't done it, please contact us so we know to keep an eye out for stuff and to get it going. Also tonight, what we've got is the county and the city, Sacramento, requires us to provide a form for every homeowner that you have signed that says you have a smoke detector and a carbon monoxide detector and that they work. And you have to sign it. We have them here. We will not get building finals on our construction permits until we turn those in.
The only alternative to that is having the inspector physically come to your home. So it's really important.
Yeah, and scheduling that, it just doesn't happen. If you don't have a smoke detector that works, or you need more, or you need a carbon monoxide detector, please let us know. We can get them in bulk. We can get a good deal on them. So we want everybody to have them, as well as getting the form back from you that we've seen them. Once the project's underway, if you see anything, please let us know. When the projects are painted and complete, there'll be the last posting to say, we have completed your building. Please sign this and give it to the office, email it, mail it to Betsy, hand it to one of us, because that's how I know that if a customer has any questions or a homeowner has any concerns, I've got a form that either every homeowner gave it to me and they didn't see anything else that needed to be done, or I don't, and I have a note that says I've got something, a concern, something to get finished, something doesn't fit, there's something that needs to get done before we declare it finished. So those are going to be the three major postings that you're going to see from us. So that's real brief on it. I'm now going to give this to Bill Schuman, and he's going to talk in more detail about how they're going to get started and the process that they're going to go through on the construction.
Not used to using a microphone, so I usually just talk really loud. Yeah. A little stage fright. Like Paul said, my name's Bill Schuman. Caesar and I are both equal partners in the business. I've been a contractor since 1994, and I specialize in working on occupied dwellings. So you may have seen us out here over the last 2 years. Oh, sorry. We've done quite a few spot repairs at units, siding and trim. We've probably done a couple 1,000 foot of fencing out here as well. So we're really familiar with the property, and actually back in, I think, 2008, we did a large phased project out here. I was with another company at the time, but I know Nepenthe very well, and we're going to do a fantastic job for you. We're going to do a great job of cleanup, keeping you informed. Any little issues, sometimes the cleanup may not be up to your standards or whatever, feel free to contact myself, Caesar, or Mike. All of our numbers will be on the 7-day notices. Betsy will be emailing out a general notice that basically gives you information on, so, please leave your gate unlocked when we come. If you're not going to be home, please make sure your pets are secure. Just general information about the project that will give you an idea of, we're not asking a lot, but those are two of the key items there. We need access, and we need we love pets, but we don't want them to run off. So what notices? So you'll receive a 7-day notice before we actually begin the repairs. And then we usually give you a reminder notice 72 to 48 hours before. So essentially you're going to have a weekend in there for preparing. We usually ask you to move personal items away from the fence or the building at least 4 feet, so we have access. Any wall hangings on the interior walls, when we're out there demoing the sheets and installing new ones, the wall vibrates, and photographs or any knickknacks that you have on the walls can fall and break, and we really don't, we don't want that to happen. So those are two of the things that you can do to prepare. Our path of travel is essentially starting at the odd side of Dunbarton, 101. We're sweeping around the outside perimeter and then coming back towards the inside where the even numbers are, and ending up about the same place that we started.
Right. And the handout that I'll be giving you as you leave shows that path of travel. And it also, you've broken it into how many groups?
5 groups,
5 groups, so-
20%.
Right. So you'll be able to see each of the groups, and that'll give you a sense of when they'll be coming. You have created your first basically schedule for
Yeah.
group 1, and we're not going to publish more than that because you got to see how it goes with group 1. Make sure that it kind of,
Yeah. We start off a little slower first couple of weeks to a month, getting all the details worked out,
getting all the material.
getting our rhythm. We get into a rhythm where things just start really moving fast. So the first month, the schedule will be pretty accurate. After that, we're going to start doing updated schedules. We're going to add more crew.
Yeah.
So the last 4 groups will get done more rapidly than the first group will. And they're, like I said, they're basically broken down into 20% sections. But the map that Betsy will give you has the groups highlighted.
Yep, the delineations. Is
Yeah.
this a good time for questions?
Sure.
Okay, right away. If for the folks on Zoom, there's been a question to introduce Caesar and Mike on camera. So if you would, so the people at home
Oh.
can see them.
Yeah. So again, Caesar Amazon is my business partner. Mike is our best supervisor in the field. He's also Caesar's brother. We are a family business. You'll see a lot of guys that look like each other on your job site. So
They all answer to Mike.
well, they'll answer to hey you. But all the guys have been doing this type of work for quite some time. They're friendly. We train them to not answer too many questions because we prefer that the questions get fielded by your project supervisor, because sometimes the crew guys are just, every day we assign them to something. They're not really going to know. So they're going to be friendly. They're going to say good morning and everything. But any questions, we'd appreciate if you could direct them to Mike, or you can call Caesar and myself. Yes, sir. No, we're contracted to only do the siding and trim repairs on the buildings, and then all of the fencing repairs. Some of you will not get any repairs to your fence. Maybe they've been done already or they're in good shape. But it'll appear on the notice if we're doing your fence. I do want to say one quick thing about the fencing. We try to get it down and up as fast as possible. You may be overnight without a fence, because we have to, typically we'll demolish the fence, set the posts, and then the next morning we install it. So we're going to be as quick as we can with the fencing. And I don't want you guys to feel exposed, but if you are getting a fence repaired, you may want to consider that before we start. Yes, sir. Oh.
So at some point, the property that my wife and I now own had trellises and jasmine on the inside of the fence. And my question is, will that, if our fence has to be replaced, and I suspect it needs enough attention, it may need to, does the trellis and all the jasmine have to be removed so that your crew has access to put in new posts and new fencing?
So I'll be honest with you, if it's right on the fence, if it's attached to the fence, then yes. If you have a setback between the fence and the trellis material, then we can probably work around it, although I can't guarantee that it won't be damaged. It's
yeah,
demolition.
The trellis won't withstand it. I mean, I can pull it down with my hand.
Yeah, I apologize. And plus with the painting, so
Yeah.
your paint contractor will be coming behind us. I don't have access to their schedule at the moment, but they usually ask for, 2 to 4 feet of clearance for stuff they have to paint. So we'll be we're going to prime with a tinted primer all of the fence boards before we even install them. So, but they're going to need to spray those.
And one final question on this.
Yes, sir.
So if for the properties where the fence is going to be torn down and removed,
Mhm.
will you have will you have a bunch of piles of debris that the city will come and pick up, or will you
No,
be taking it away?
we
yourself?
have a trailer, a dump trailer. We haul around and get it as close to each unit as we can. So demolition, any demolished materials will be removed same day.
So if I tear down the trellis and take care of the jasmine on my own, but just the trellis itself, it's a whole length of the fence.
Yeah.
Would you be able to haul that away if I just left it a nice tidy pile for you? Or-
It just depends on how much it is. I mean,
Yeah.
here's the issue. I love doing favors for people. And but once in a while I run into an issue where you've heard the expression, no good deed goes unpunished,
Yeah.
and so, you damaged my light while you were doing this favor for me, and then I'm paying out of pocket. So, and on a project this size. So if I do it for one person, I have to do it for everybody. But if it's a small amount of material and it's accessible, I don't have a problem doing a little favor that way.
Thank you for your direct
Okay.
answer. Appreciate it.
Okay, so Brian is going to bring the microphone around to folks. And so if you don't get this one, put your hand
Be
up.
nice to Brian because he gets to pick.
Yeah. You want to do Mary's question first? Mary, oh, wait, you mean there's actually a couple of them. Okay. Why don't we do the live questions first and then we'll do the ones that came in on the chat? How's that? Because there'll probably be some repeats.
Oh, it's a follow-up to this gentleman's question.
Yeah, right. So Mary is saying, will we need to take down any outside window shades? Yes, each owner that has items attached to their home is responsible to remove those items. The only exception might be if you have some old wiring and that piece of siding is going to be removed anyway and you don't care, they can, cut it and take it away. But most of the things you have attached to your house, you probably want to take care of. And so I think, right, am I right, Bill? I mean, you would prefer each owner remove those things before you're
Yeah.
on.
Again, it goes to a liability issue. So if you have some shades over the windows on the exterior, and I take them off for you and they get damaged, then I'm responsible for paying for it. So, again, I'm sorry.
I can't. Coach lights, yes, lighting fixtures. I think, should they wait until after you mark what's being removed?
They can, but you'll have a shorter window of removing it unless we can get a couple weeks ahead, or
Mhm.
I don't know. That's really
We
a
can get
Paul
us,
question.
I won't forget you. Yeah, we can get it far enough ahead.
Okay.
If someone has a concern, please email Bill. And when when they send out the general notice, when they email that out, so we can build an address list of the stuff that we got to watch for.
Okay, I
Yeah.
think somebody has the microphone here.
Hi, so we're new to Campus Commons. I'm unfamiliar with what you're actually doing. Well, what actually will be done to the siding? When you say repairs to the siding, can you give me some examples of what kind of repairs are you talking about?
Yeah, that's an easy one. These buildings get painted on a cycle of phases throughout the community because it's such a huge property. So they break it into phases. This is a phase 1 repair. So essentially what we're doing is Paul and us will go through and identify. We already had a scope that another contractor put together, but then we're going to go through and field verify all of the locations. We'll mark them, but we're talking about removing a sheet of siding here, or a sheet of siding there. Sometimes it's an entire wall, corner to corner, and the associated trim that goes with it around the windows. If we're doing work around a window, we install a metal flashing over the top of the window for additional protection. And then the fencing. So if your fence is in poor condition, we tear the whole thing down. It's a little different style than what's there now. If we're doing a spot repair on the fence, it'll look the same as it does now. If we're doing a full replacement, in my opinion, it's a better system of fencing and it's less maintenance to do. And I think the board selected the best way to go. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have awnings that need to be removed and we've contacted the person that hung them originally. And they need 2 weeks to come out, lead time before they can come out and remove them. How is that going to play into the time from when you're coming around? And we don't want to take the awnings off.
What's your unit number?
1109.
1109. So you're down this. You want to handle?
Let me jump into this because this was the question we were talking about this morning that I'm waiting for.
Okay, sure.
This is the one I've been waiting for. We have the map.
Right.
And I want to talk with you personally today before you leave real quick. And then we want to identify these items that's going to need you're going to need a month's notice or 2 weeks or whatever. And we wanted to keep in contact with you because they're going to need that time and it's going to be down. Those items may be down for a week, maybe 2 weeks, do the work. And we've got to schedule painters to come in. Painters are on Zoom tonight. They couldn't be here. And they're going to have their schedule. And then you're going to have to schedule putting them back. So I want to work with you and identify these addresses. And Bill and I build an Excel spreadsheet with things on it's got to get done. But then also, so you know how long it's going to be,
Right.
You can prepare a place to put it. Whether it's going to be in your garage or wherever. So that's part of why we're here tonight. And really what I want to identify with window shades and I see stuff up on the chat and that.
All right.
Going on.
And I have a follow-up question. What if you encounter some places in the homes that have some kind of water damage and there might be black mold in the insulation? Do you address that at that point, or is that our responsibility to address that?
Yeah, so if we see something like that, we are not a mold remediation company. So I would probably notify Betsy and Paul, and they would probably recommend a remediation company to come in and do the scrubbing or whatever they need to do. If it's on the exterior and it's just on insulation, we can replace the insulation. But if it's on the drywall or the framing, then you probably need to have a remediation company come in.
Right.
We don't.
I was more concerned about it on the insulation itself. We've seen it before at a different place that we were at. And the whole wall of insulation when it was exposed was black. And they just went right back over the top of it.
We
with
don't do
sheeting.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again, it's another liability issue for me.
Right.
So I want everything, all the decay removed. If we find termite activity, we'll notify Paul and Betsy. I don't want to cover up anything that could be a problem down the road. The whole point of this is to secure the buildings so they're good to go until your next cycle, 7 or 8 years down the road. So I don't cover stuff.
Real quick on that, to add how that process works is they pull siding off a building, there's dry rot, maybe even termites around the window. Okay, that's not included in the scope of work. This is going to be an extra. It's going to be a change order. Mike is going to take pictures of it immediately and take measurements. There's going to be a group text between us. Immediately comes to me and I'm notified with the pictures. With that, he can generate a cost and a change order, and I live with this in my pocket, and I can do them on the fly because they've got to be able to repair it. There's termites, we have to go to Betsy and have the pest control company come out and do their treatment. But then the building department also has to see it repaired, sign it off, because that's how he proves he didn't cover it up. And then I have to document the whole thing because it's an extra charge, or the fact that we even saw it. And then every other week, there's a report that goes to the board and to Betsy from me, just a real brief chart saying, here's the buildings we did, here's our change orders, here's our dollars to date. And once he gets started a little slow, because we build a rhythm, we can now, once we get about 10 buildings down, we can go, oh, we see this dry rot on every window. It's going to have 2 tube eyes behind it. We got to fix. I don't expect a lot of black mold. I do expect some dry rot. I've seen some windows that we can't wait. He's had them apart before, so we know what we're kind of looking at. But I don't think a mold problem, because you guys keep your landscaping so dry. There isn't a lot of ponding water. When I've seen a lot of bad roofs or a lot of ponds, that's an issue.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Nancy.
Hi. Several years ago, I walked in on a guy at 4 o'clock in the afternoon who was up in my bedroom stealing all my jewelry. So I kind of freak out about having my gates unlocked and my fence down.
Sure.
And I have a deadbolt on my gate, but the way the fence is now, it's impossible to really easily unlock it and lock it. So I was wondering if I could would this be something where I could meet with, I think you're Paul, to kind of talk about what my fence is doing, and so that,
Here's the thing, once you get your notice that we're coming, you can contact Mike. He can come take a look at it. If it's just a simple fix to get your lock to engage, we'll just take care of it.
I think you're probably going to have to do something with the fence, because it's the fence that's causing the problem.
Well, and you may actually have the fence replacement on your
That's what I'm
scope
afraid
of
of.
work, but I couldn't tell you that off
Yeah,
the
so
top of my head.
Can I have a security guard all night when you do it? I'm kidding. But
Yes, yes. Mike has a sleeping bag. If little air mattress, he'll sleep right on your
that'll
patio.
work. That'll work just fine.
Okay.
I think, Brian, I think this, oh.
You were next.
Phase them out.
Yeah, if the fence is that bad.
Ma'am, to answer a question for that, if the fence is larger than, say, 60 feet, then we'll phase it out in 2 days. So we'll do 30 feet one day, so you're not without a fence overnight. And then we'll do the other 30 the next morning.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So that shouldn't be an issue.
Good.
If I get your,
Yeah, you're on.
You're on.
all right, if I get your schedule and it's clear, I'm going to be out of town on a trip.
Mm-hmm.
So it would seem, you need to reschedule for a different day. Whom do I contact?
So there's a lot of folks here that take trips and travel a lot. My suggestion is make arrangements to leave a key to your gate with Mike or the office here, so we can access it. You don't need to be home for the repairs. I know a lot of people would prefer to be, but it'll wreak havoc with the schedule. I'll wind up getting 10 buildings down and have to come back and do this one over here. It's an issue. So I understand where you're coming from, but we're very trustworthy. We only work on occupied housing. And I trust every man that we're going to send to your unit. And they won't be in there looking for your jewelry or anything either. We have no reason. Yeah, they took it all. But that, to that point, the only interior access we would need is if we find a lot of framing dry rot and we have to get inside and do some drywall repairs or something. But that'll all be done by appointment with you home. So hopefully that answers your question on that.
And if the repair happens and you're not home and there's dry rot repair and it involves interior repairs to the wall surface, then we have to come back once the homeowner is back from vacation. That part of my job is running that spreadsheet with Betsy that, okay, these people will be back after Christmas. Now we can go do it.
We're not going to enter without your permission.
And we also, just so you know in advance, we close down between Christmas and New Year's. So we're not going to be out here banging on your home during the holidays. The overall project, we're projecting to take about 10 months. Some of that, we pride ourselves in maintaining a schedule. Some of that could change if we happen to get a really wet winter, or if we run into an inordinate amount of dry rot behind the siding. But we're looking at a 10-month duration from the beginning to the end for the repairs. The paint will be following behind and they'll have their own schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, you'll have all of our contact numbers, and we're very accommodating. Yeah, we want to make this as painless as possible. I don't like having people at my home banging on the walls and making a mess. So with that in mind, we make sure we take care of everybody. So yes,
Hi.
ma'am, I'm sorry.
No, that's all good news. I'm Janine. I've been here for 30 years in Nepenthe,
Janine.
and I've been through a lot of these. So my first question is, I still have remnants on my inside walls of nails that were put in the siding, and the nails are still on the inside wall, and they did not replace the drywall because it was my responsibility for the fact that the nails went into the inside wall, which I did not expect. So I'd like to know what you would do if that happens again. And also my fencing and my trim and my siding were never really repaired completely. I have a lot of dry rot. My fencing is falling down. I've many times asked for it to be replaced and I was told I couldn't. It was my responsibility for any dry rot, for any mold over the years that I've been here. And that's my concern, is that we're being told this up front, but then when it really happened to me, I was told it was my responsibility in the past over these 30 years. And that was a surprise to me. And so I'd like to know if those come up, what you would do for that.
So just to,
Do you want to address the nail pot?
I talked to Betsy
You talk to her about that.
about it,
Yeah.
unless you want to feel that
yeah.
one.
Well, so the nail pops aren't really, I know it seems like it's the nail. What's happening is where you have nails under the drywall, the vibration has caused a little piece of the drywall mud to loosen and fall off. And it's true. And that is what the CCNR say is like, they're going to take every precaution. But these are 50-year-old walls with 50-year-old drywall
Yeah, but this happened
plaster.
30 years ago, which
Yeah,
makes
that
it 20
surprises
years.
me that it even
And
happened
I
then.
have a ton of them
but-
in my kitchen and my living room.
Yeah.
And to beat the dry, and I also had 225 nails in the garden that I actually carried into the homeowners.
Wow.
225 nails in the garden.
That's
is-
not gonna
With a
happen.
child
Yeah.
that I had at
Yeah.
the time was unbelievable. to
We
me.
have big magnets
Okay,
that we run through at the end of every day.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
And you'll have the opportunity too, I believe, when you go and you mark up the siding, you can be there and you can see.
I know what needs to be done. I mean, things are
but
falling
it's
apart.
nice to,
Yeah.
you know, because you can
Yeah.
point out to them if they've missed it. Also, if you're not going to be home, that's the other side of it. If you're not going to be home, you can always put little Post-it notes in places where you think
Okay.
there's a problem and they can take a
That would
look
be
at that.
helpful.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I don't know is what color are we doing?
Same color as it is now.
Oh, okay. So we're
Yeah.
all good. There's
Yeah.
no this,
No
that, and the
change.
other. No
No,
change.
no
The same
change.
color.
Yeah.
I say we change them all right now. Let's do
Purple.
it.
No,
Purple.
no, don't
Kidding.
go there.
Kidding,
You
kidding,
do
kidding.
not want to go there.
That would open a can of
Been
worms,
there,
wouldn't
done
it?
that. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're the paint guy.
I am. I'm not the painter, but I'm the paint manufacturer.
yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So what we've done is the same colors, but what we've done is made them that they are standard Kellymore colors. So if you need a paint chip of it, or if you go and say, I need KM, whatever the color is, it's not a match. The last previous paint was a match, the Nepenthe tan, the tuck gray. And it made some, questions in the stores or whatnot. So now it is a Kellymore color that everything's there. Everything's there. So it's not, you go to a store and they say, well, that color is no longer available. Things like that. It's all standardized now. And we'll create a closeout binder that will have the colors listed as well. Yes.
Can you just walk us quickly through the steps? So you give us notice, we take everything off the siding. Someone comes in and marks. Then you come in and put in the panels that need to be put in, right? And the trim that needs to be put in. And then at some point, somebody comes and paints it. Is that the process?
Yes. So you may want to wait until the stuff's marked before you start removing stuff.
Okay.
Although, again, I don't know what the painter's schedule is, but they're going to be behind us. It could be a couple of weeks. I don't know. But for the paint process, you're probably going to have to remove everything anyway.
Right. So that's the
So-
basic process.
Correct.
Okay, I have
Yeah.
one other question. Because of security issues these days, what is the notice process? Because putting the notices on the garages is saying to the bad guys that, these gates are going to be open at this time. And,
Yeah.
and I noticed that for this meeting, my notice came in my mailbox. I understand it's a mailbox and we're not allowed to put mail in that, but is there,
I
how are
can
we going
field
to
that
handle
for
this?
you. So
Huh?
I can address that for you. We hand post all of our notices, the 7-day.
Yeah, where are
notice,
you posting them?
reminder notice. One will be posted at the back where your garage is because a lot of people enter in the garage. Another one will be posted on your entry door.
And that's
So
the
2
problem.
locations.
That's the problem.
Well, are you
So,
not
and
getting
that's
the notice?
probably a Nepenthe management issue rather than your issue.
Well, yeah, it's surprising how many people though don't read the emails or check the emails. So it kind of has to be both. I mean, I would say watch out for one another. If somebody's not home, right? You tend to, if your neighbor is in vacation, then they're not going to pick up that notice for a day or two. You can bring it in, and then when they get home, you say, "This was, put on your doorstep. Just want to make sure you got it." So I think we rely on the same thing we always do, which is looking out for one another and keeping our
But
eyes open.
so Betsy, you can't put them in the mailboxes. You are not
It's
allowed to
against-
do that,
It's
or?
against the law.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to check with
I know it's
President
post
Biden on
office
that.
issue.
I'm teasing. Yeah, we're not allowed to stuff anything in the mailboxes, but I can post them on the back gates. I don't have a problem posting wherever you folks want, but typically all the time that I've been working out here, we put one at the garage because a lot of people pull into their garage and then they go into the home. Some people may enter from the front entry. So those are the two locations we post them. They're not going to fly away. We tape them on. Yeah. But we tape them on and we use a painter's tape so it doesn't leave residue. I mean, they're pretty secure and sure. We're going to be here between 8 a.m. and 4:30, sometimes a little bit later than 4:30. Our men will be
We have
keeping an
more
eye
people.
out for you. During our work hours, but we're going to be at or near the location. I mean, it's not going to be open season and then at 5 p.m. come out and lock your gate.
Wait, Pat, I'm sorry, there's so many other people that had their hands up and are waiting to ask questions. So
I guess it's me. Sorry to interrupt the flow. Slightly different tack back to the gardens and the trellises. Thanks for that good question. My parents have lived where they are since 2015, and maybe like many of you, at least perhaps you, on the inside of the fence around the patio are hundreds of dollars and hours of loving care over gardening and, roses up trellises and that kind of thing. And the trellises are, I believe, attached to the fences. But so I have two questions. One is it sounds like it's possible there'll be patching. We don't know. We won't know till you come look at it, whether it's going to be fully replaced or just patched perhaps, or certain boards in certain places. Is that correct? At least my understanding. So at some point you'll notify folks about what you're going to do. And then there'll be, in my understanding, like a week or so perhaps between that notification and preparing for that change.
There's
That's
not
right.
there's not a lot of spot replacement
Okay. Mostly it'll be full.
because the fences, the old style fences, if you still have an old style fence, is probably seen its
Seen its
last
best.
days.
Okay.
I was talking to Betsy earlier when you came up with or somebody said something about they need 2 weeks notice to get their shades down. So I've agreed to go ahead and post a 2-week notice, a 1-week notice, and then a reminder notice. So you get 3 notifications of when it's coming. I'm a gardener myself, and I feel really bad, but it's not really a good idea to plant things really close or on the fence.
it's actually
anyway.
prohibited in the CCNRs to attach trellises to the fence. I know it happens. A lot of people will do it because it beautifies it, but it creates such a difficulty when we have this shared maintenance agreement between the association and the homeowner. So
Got it. So just to follow up, so anything planted close to that fence that may be replaced, perhaps we'd be in touch with any one of you individuals, but one thought was to sort of lay those plants down and cover them or something. I don't know how much tiptoeing you're willing to do. Or
Yeah. So here's what I suggest. Once you get your 2-week or your 1-week notice, call one of us, probably Mike, because he's going to be here all day, every day. Have him come and take a look. And he can say, yeah, we're not going to be able to work around that. It's got to go. Or the issue is that we can't be while we try to be careful, we can't be responsible. Like if unless you pull the plant up and move it away in a pot or something, if it's right next to the fence, I can't guarantee that during the demo, one of the panels may fall over. It's,
sure.
yeah.
Got it.
So,
Okay. So be in touch with Mike.
yeah. Well, it's not really an inches thing. It's, it really just depends on how the access from the outside of the fence. Cause a lot of times we can get the fence demoed and installed without really affecting too much of the inside, but that's not always the case. So, I mean, it's more of a matter of feet than inches. And we'll be as careful as we can if you have something planted close to it. Anything attached to the fence or growing on the fence that's got to go no matter what. But we'll do our best.
Talking about trellises, I have
Yes.
beams in the front of my home
Mm-hmm.
and they were replaced some years ago and they're twisting and twisting the inside of there was buckles on the top side of my home. Are you going to replace those beams again?
So I believe the standard for these repairs is decay only. So if it's
So if they're twisting and changing the interior of the
that,
house.
you would have to ask Betsy and Paul about.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that would be an important conversation to have, and we may need to involve the board. You're in one of the models, the patio models with the
Yeah,
beams.
with the beams down and it rained on them and then they twisted and then they put them in anyway. And now the molding on the top of the framing is buckling and the windows bulging.
Okay, I think that's something.
But that's
we-
different than what you're not going to do the beams, the big beams.
Well,
Unless they're
if I'm
decayed.
instructed to,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
will.
It's a huge, I mean, there were like 5 guys out there trying to
It's
figure
a
out
big
how to
job.
put them
I've
up.
replaced some of the beams out here as one-off repairs,
Okay,
but you need to go through your board.
okay. I just wanted to know,
And
because
I don't
thinking about
know
the
what your
trellis.
CCNR say about trellises, if they're homeowner responsibility or not.
Okay,
Yeah, I definitely want to know more about that.
okay, that's good. I just got into my head. Thank you. Okay.
I'd like to address two issues. One is with regard to the siding. I understand that you're not really installing the new siding recently decided on by the board. You're doing a repair only. And if, I assume that's the case,
I think you mean, are we completely re-siding the
Correct.
building? No, it would be only the sheets that are currently dry rotted, but it will be the new material.
Oh.
So in theory, eventually, the whole building would be re-sided with the Duratec. Is that?
Or a temp.
Duratemp, yes.
thank you for clarifying. The second issue
Yeah.
is with regard to the perimeter where the fences are. Do you put a ground cover down so that my patio doesn't include a whole bunch of dirt? And when you pull, do you pull the posts out, the anchoring concrete out if you should replace a post? And again, I'm concerned with the spread of the material.
We will cover anything that could be damaged with drop cloths. When we pull the posts, we have a piece of equipment that pulls them. We don't hand dig them out. It takes forever. So we pull out the post and the concrete, we call them slugs, underneath it. So when we put the new post in, it's a metal post. They don't rot. We set them in brand new concrete, and we will protect your patio
Thank
from
you.
any damage. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
Just to clarify in my mind, everything is going to get painted, whether it's replaced or not. Is that correct?
Yes.
Fence, building, everything. Okay. Second off, if you have a fence with metal posts, that is a newer kind of fence, I guess. And the post should be good if some of the fence is bad, correct? They've got metal pipe posts.
Yes, we don't typically replace those
Right.
if they're already metal. A lot of the previously done fences that have been repaired have a round post. We use like a little T-post. It doesn't look the same, but if they've already got steel posts and they're solid, they're not going to get
You know,
replaced.
these are
Just-
about 3-inch diameter round.
Yeah,
pipe.
they'll be reused if
Okay,
that's the
so-
case, and all the other components will be replaced.
Might be replaced or spot replaced. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Real quick, is there a list that I can look at that says, yes, you're going to be working on my house. No, there's nothing going to happen to my house. Yes, you're going to replace my fence. No, there isn't. Is there a list somewhere
I think
that I
that's
can
a
There-
look
Paul
at?
and Betsy question.
Yeah, there is a list that was submitted with the proposal. Much of that scope of work was prepared by another vendor, which is why they want to do their own field inspection before they begin the work. But I have that list and I'd be happy to share it with anybody who has an interest in it. And I may put that on the website on the dedicated page for this project too.
Okay.
Super quick follow-up question on the fences again with the painting that you'll be repainting everything. If a fence doesn't have to be replaced, will you still be going in and repainting the inside of the fence? Just back to the trellises thoughts. You'll be
I'm not
painting
doing the
inside and out.
painting.
I know you're not doing the painting.
No.
Oh,
Yes.
uh-huh.
Right. But yes, everything will be painted.
Okay, so basically that means, yeah, we got to deal with the garden.
Yeah, you do. You do. Even if there's no repairs needed, but there probably is.
I'm another one that's been through a lot of these. And one thing I would like to caution people about is to take your cars out of your garage when the paint comes. Mine ended up with the measles one time when they painted because of the
The air, it
air.
got through the gaps.
Yeah. and
Well,
so it
one thing I
sprayed in
wanted
there.
to say is Renee Trammell is here via Zoom. Renee is the owner of Progressive Painting and they do have the contract. And Renee, if you can hear us, I see you're muted, but maybe you could unmute yourself and speak to how the garage doors are painted and what people need to know about that.
Yes, apologize, I'm sick, so we do put the notices up just like CPR does. We follow a similar pattern. As far as the roll-up doors, we do encourage people to take their cars out of the garage, and it's posted on our notices. I don't think we've ever had that happen out there, and we have painted out at Nepenthe many times. But yeah, we do spray the doors, and we do encourage you to get your car out while the house is being sprayed.
That's good to know. Thank you. Thank you, Marianne.
Yeah, the other thing is the nail. I've had the nail thing happen also.
Yeah, the nail pops.
Yeah. And when you do your magnet with the nails.
I don't know. I don't think your microphone's working anymore. But maybe we can get another one for her.
Can you hear me now? I sound like the Verizon man. When you do the nail thing, do you do the alleys behind the garages when you pick up your nails?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, because I've had
Yeah.
that happen too.
You know, because we're loading stuff from your yard into the alleyway or the driveways. So yeah, we make sure. You know, we miss a nail once in a while, but you're certainly not going to find 170 nails in your backyard. We
No, it takes one.
if we need to quit a little earlier because it's a bigger mess, we do to make sure that it's left clean. And like I said, if you find even one nail, call. We'll
Redouble their efforts.
redouble our efforts.
Question? I think we'd have to, but right now oh yeah, for owners' cars, yes, I think we would have to, but let me work with the board on that, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Julie, sorry.
No problem. I just had one question about, when you're nailing the siding on and it causes the little other nails to come through or oh, okay, like this? Okay. And so I have in my downstairs bathroom a wall-to-wall mirror that does not come down. It's the original.
Yeah.
I know the last time they did siding, I put Post-it notes. I was home. I said, please be careful with this wall.
Yeah.
I got little black spots coming
The
down.
mirror.
Yeah, on the behind, because it's scratched behind the mirror from where the wall is. How do we, I really don't want it to happen again because I
Did
know
you
that.
replace the mirror already?
No, I'm gonna leave it for a while until it gets worse, but the spots are getting bigger.
We can make it worse for you if you
Yeah, I
want, if you need a
know.
little,
And
little
so
nudge.
that's kind of the thing. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna probably have to cut it eventually here, but I don't want to have to take the whole mirror out.
We
I
may
like
not
it.
even be doing repairs on that side of the building, but
not?
please make sure that you leave a
Like on that
Post-it
day-
note
well, I did.
or when you have when you receive your notice,
Okay.
come out the day we're getting started. We'll be as careful as we can.
Yeah.
We use nail guns that tend, instead of pounding them in with a hammer.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad using a nail
potential's
gun.
there.
Yeah,
But
but
there
it's
is
just
the
like,
potential there.
Yeah.
So it might be a good idea for one of us to come in and photo document the mirror and we'll do the best
all
we
we can do.
can. I
Okay.
know. I
Well,
know.
hopefully it got repaired last time. It doesn't need it this time.
Yeah.
So.
That would be great.
That was actually my thought when I said, I don't even know if we're going to be doing a repair there. So.
I have a question more for the painting. I know you're not the painting, but I'm just asking. Yes, Renee, when I have a yard, 2,300, which my patio is right smack in the middle under the hanging part. I mean, I have.
Oh, you have the beams, the overhead beams.
And I was
Mhm.
just wondering, because they obviously need to be painted, how much do I need to cover of my table? Because it kind of takes up the whole yard. And I also have a fountain. And what do I do with the fountain? How much do I have to cover of all this?
Well, we do ask people to move as much as they can to the center of the area. But in a situation like that, where you have a fountain that's can't be moved, we will cover it with a thin plastic
I will, but I just want to make sure.
so that it doesn't get any overspray or anything. And if we have to, in certain situations, we can also on a large table, cover it with the plastic also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wondering the approximate time between the taking down all of our lights so that the repair can be done and having everything finished, the paint done, so we can put lights back up. We're likely to be in the winter, it sounds like. I don't want to have days and days without lights. What are we going to do about that?
Yeah, Renee, as far as your schedule goes, what are you anticipating as far as like a gap between siding being done and your crew coming in?
I would say very little, like within 2 to 4 days at the max.
Oh, excellent. Okay, thank you.
And I have to apologize to Renee. I actually didn't she just got the schedule yesterday, so she probably hasn't had time to fully put anything together, but sorry, Renee. I've been out in the field a lot lately.
Okay, so if everybody's okay, let's take a look at some of the questions on chat. Or has somebody been neglected? Pat, do you want to go? Okay, all right. So we're going to do a quick scroll through. We did introduce Caesar and Mike in front of the camera for the people on Zoom. Gates, I believe I let Alan know gates would be handled at the same time if we're doing
Typically, if
fences.
it's a full replacement on the fence, the gates.
Okay, and if it's not a full replacement on the fence, but you find that the gate is in poor shape, you would address the gate.
We could do a change order for the gate if it's
Oh, I
not on the
see.
original scope.
Okay.
And typically we reuse the metal frames that are already
Sure,
there. And
yeah.
just install new lumber on them.
Excellent.
Use the hardware.
And I think that's really key, is that homeowners watch the notices and if they think that something might get missed, put a Post-it note or, call Mike and let him know, don't, make sure you look at my gate or whatever it is. Mary asked a question that we've already heard before, if we need to take any outside window shades down. Yeah, that is a homeowner responsibility and Bill is committed to giving you lots of notice so you can have that done, Mary. And Allison had a question about, they have like a cable dish and wires attached to the wall high inside the patio, like at the second level. They don't want them anymore. would you take those down or would the owners be responsible for that?
Yeah, so in answer to that question, if they're mounted to items that are on the scope to replace, we'll remove them. And if you don't want them back up, we'll haul them away. But typically, if we're just doing work on the first story and you have that dish up top,
Yeah.
that might be
But
something
there
that a
should be an-
handyman or somebody, but I'm not going to charge if it's attached to a piece of siding we're replacing or a piece of trim. I'm not going to charge anything for that.
Okay.
I'll take care of it for you. And if you want me to toss it, I
Yeah.
will.
And there's plenty of time for conversation around those things
Yes.
as you get closer to the actual work dates.
Right.
And Donald Denmark asked, will you email the attestation forms for the smoke detector and the CO monitor? And I will definitely email that in an attachment after this meeting to everybody. And I'll also put it on the website. So hopefully, and anybody do that right away. Like you can just bring those in immediately. In fact, I have a pile of them as you walk out. If you want to fill those out, it just helps the process that much more. And Alice asked, when fences are down overnight, will there be increased security? And we did talk about that. And it sounds like Mike and Caesar have already worked it out in such a way that they will do half and half if they need to make sure the fence is up overnight. Right? Caesar, did I understand that right?
A longer fence. If it's
Yeah.
a shorter one, we're going to do our best to
Okay.
make things secure at night.
Okay.
I can't necessarily guarantee it just because it depends.
You
on
don't
the
know what you're going to
situation.
find. Yeah. Yeah.
But if we have trouble, like they're like double deep posts or something, then
And you might know that
But for the
before you
most part,
start work
yes.
and can address it even beforehand so that the
Yeah.
homeowner at least knows that that's coming.
yeah, for the most part, we're gonna
Okay.
take care of that.
Okay.
Is that question from Alice
That was
for security that's on patrol at night?
yeah, there is security. They only do like 2 runs through the night and they've got a lot, it's not a long patrol. They're not on site like
Okay.
continuously. They do two patrols nightly. It's not much. So there will not be increased security overnight. So we're really just going to try and get the work done as quickly as we can. And then Candace, Peter asked this question also, and I will put the scope of work on the website. So if you have a question about what you think is going to be done. Yes. And Bev, yes, you will need to remove your porch light. But is that correct? Because they just tape them up, don't they? They cover them with plastic and then they paint. Yeah. So you don't have to take it down. I'm sorry. See, these folks who've been through it, they know. They should run the meeting.
And if there's a piece of siding there, we'll detach and reset it as well.
Yeah. 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 And then it looks like Alice had the same issue with bathroom tile wall and large mirrors. And that's a hard one. I just, yeah.
It's out of style now. You have to get those mirrors.
Yeah, you have
out
to
of
get the
there.
little oval ones now.
You gotta
Put
get a
them side by
designer in
side,
there.
Put the sconces in between and there you go. Apparently contractors designed that. Okay. And and I think Bev probably heard my answer about the gate. It just depends on if it needs it. And she can always point it out to Mike or any of the team here. And okay. And so Candace Taylor says it would be nice if you would reach around and post on the inside of the patio gate. And that is something we've had past contractors do. They just put the piece of tape on top and they like this on the
I
inside
don't
of
have
the
a
gate.
problem with that at all.
Okay.
And if you don't want one posted on
the front.
garage, or I can post notices on the inside. Some of you have 2 patios, some of you have 1. I can post them on the inside of all of the gates.
You guys like that
and
better?
And skip the
Okay.
garage.
Okay.
Good idea.
All right. Thanks, Candace or Tim. You're getting applause here. Okay. And will the painters cut the garage door edges after the paint dries? Last time our opener got bent because the door was painted shut. The paint edges were stuck. So it sounds like a Renee question.
I've actually never encountered that problem, but I have made a note of it. And when we have our foreman meeting out there, I'll make sure that they check for things like that.
Okay, good deal. Thank
You
you.
just have to make sure they don't caulk the seam. Right.
Yeah, that would be bad. Okay, thanks Aubrey for pointing that out. Okay, I think that's everything. Pat, good.
Bill said the magic word, caulking.
Yes.
So if a window trim gets replaced, I assume you will be caulking it.
That is correct.
If a window trim is not replaced, it's got how many years? 8, 9 years of old dried up caulking.
I don't remember if the paint scope includes
Renee?
caulking. It's usually caulk where it was previously caulked. But any new areas that we replace something, we're going to do the caulking on it.
Yeah, well, where the replacement happens, he caulks it. Renee, you want to jump in on caulking and prep?
Yeah, in the areas that Bill and his crew is not doing it, and that falls under the painting contract as part of our prep to remove and replace any as areas as needed.
So is that part of your inspection, Paul? Okay.
Yes, that's part of my
'Cause-
inspections.
Because I've inspected my house and it needs, and I've been doing it myself. with
Right.
Clear, waiting for this.
As
So.
the construction crew finishes up, Renee, probably, whoever's going to be the super for progressive painting, will meet with me and we're going to pre-walk the buildings.
Perfect.
And make sure that what they were expecting CPR to do got done and that they know what they're going to be laid out to do. So we're going to have a lot of buildings going simultaneously.
So I just want to say you guys did my patio fence. You did a great job. I did not find a single nail. They did it in one day. So I really trust you. Don't mess up. That's your testimonial. No, you really did a great job. And
we
on the gate.
appreciate positive feedback. Sometimes it's not forthcoming, but I have noticed working out here that you folks are just as quick to give a compliment as you are to criticize, actually more so. So
Aw,
we
that's
appreciate the
nice.
positive feedback. It means a lot to us.
Yeah.
You will get it.
All right. Okay, guys, I think that does it. I have some Kelly Moore. What do you call these? Brian?
So these are Kelly Moore club cards designed for your guys' association. And it's good for, I think it's a 25 to 30% discount off of our interior, exterior products. So these club cards right here give you a great discount. It's not just for exterior or just your colors. Anything that you guys need. It does not cover any non-Kelly Moore branded items and or sundries, tape, plastic, but it's good for a discount off of any of our paint products.
Yeah, and it identifies you as being at Nepenthe, which is also good. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And there's a free trip to Vegas.
Right, yay.
Let's go.
I want him to bring more cookies.
More cookies. And then, so I'm gonna put-
Betsy?
Yes.
Betsy?
Yes. Hi, Carol.
There's a question on the chat board about if
Oh.
the front doors are going to be painted.
Yeah, the front doors are not included in this contract. So it's good to know that you could pick up the paint at Kelly Moore. We do have the whole fan deck here at the office, and I can post it on the website as well. So if you feel like your paint needs a refresh, you can certainly take care of that, but it's not part of this particular contract. So, okay, so what I have here is 30 of these little packets that show the path of travel and the different groups and some other information for you. I also put the attestation forms out there. I have 4 piles of them with a lot of nice progressive painting pens. So you're welcome to take a pen with you. And as you leave, I'll give you one of these. And if you're from one household, please one, because I only have the 30. Okay, so I think that does it, right? Anything else? Thank you, guys. Thank you.
By the time we get there, she'll be out.
Hey, kiddo, how you doing? You're back?
Did she take the little paint things? Yeah.
Yeah,
there's. Okay.
Yes, she did. Yeah. There's a whole bunch I'm getting it coordinated for too, but yeah, they have all right there. You're very welcome. Thank you. I try to stay out of the political side of Okay. Well, we'll look it up. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I said if I wanted one little thing done. It's 2 panels and one has a light on it. And we're talking about taking the panels off anyway. There was, what happened was there was a flower bed there. It was just a flower bed. They had to put a piece in at the bottom.
My biggest worry,
You mean there's like a piece of metal separated off the side of the top? That's something that when they come around, they already did. Yeah, and I did inspections. So I basically just did a scope that somebody else did. And I assure you, we'll take next time it comes through. There's a glorious work. Or the HOA, they approve it, because they don't like that. It's called metal. They don't like it. It's not a code violation. We can look at it.
He said, same person. I said, there's one light out there and I'd like to have another light run over
typically do that, pull it, move the light, back. But I'm also in charge of the, but if the wall's open, we may. I really can't address it until I see it, but please let us know. You can talk to, so you're gonna have notifications on my number, Mike's number, and Caesar's number. You can call any of the three of us when you get your 7-day notice and say, hey, I'd like to take a quick look at it.
But you will not really be on project until.
We're gonna be out here on this, like, we're mobilizing on the 26th, getting our yard set up. This one. Less than 2 weeks, it's a week from Friday. And then we begin repairs on that Monday. So if we're starting at the other one, you can go over there and say, hey, I'll be here. You know what I look like. You have a question? Yeah, and then Betsy's gonna send a general notice out.
I'll probably
Via email.
I'll probably do.
On the website.
Yeah. And it's just.
My number will be on that as well.
It's simply, what it is, it's a, not a porch light, but a patio light.
It's just hard.
I've got a light already there and it's rather wired to from the end to the other. So, anyway.
We just take, if they're mounted to the
26.
wall, we take them off.
But I should wait till the 6th.
Only if you're moving them or you want something different.
I understand, but we should wait, I should wait till the 7-day notice comes.
You don't have to. Like I said, if you see me out here, come and grab me or call me.
You don't need one of you.
I'll let them know.
Okay. I
Just,
appreciate
if
it.
you tell me now, I'm not gonna remember.
That's good then.
We feel that there's a lot of heat coming into our house. So we'd like to put additional insulation in. Is this a time for us to be doing this while it's fighting?
Well, here's the thing. So we may only be replacing
Right.
here, up there. You're not gonna get any real value out of that unless, and there are some locations where we're going corner to corner. That's what I'm saying. So you may be better off calling an insulation company or having a flow injected into the walls. I don't really know how they'll be able to figure it out better.
And I think
If we were residing the building, then yes.
Yeah. So we'll see what you guys can do.
And we'll look at the insulation and pull it off.
Okay.
If it's in poor condition or something, then we'll request. Replace it. I don't know whose responsibility that is. The issue is that if you don't. So, yeah, as much as we'd like to, it becomes a nightmare. Most people.
Anybody got sick out of that water? No less than it. It was just in the insulation. That's smart. So smart.
That's what you're the one that just moved here.
Yeah. That's good to hear.
That way, he's gonna have 2 big awnings, he's gonna have taken down. So we'll work closer with him on the schedule. I've got a zip code, I'll send it to you guys.
1109, that's when I entered in the first.
He says he's.
We are right here.
Yeah.
We actually face you.
Yeah.
So what do you think of
So once they,
December-ish?
you know, the schedule that I sent, is that it? Oh.
This one page. I put over this. Put all that out.
Oh, so, oh, you actually stopped it. Yeah, so the problem with putting a full schedule out, that far down the road, and then people get upset and angry. But I'm gonna make sure.
Start in January. Group 2 starts in January.
Right. But, yeah, so here's the thing. I've agreed, based on what your question was, I've agreed to put 2-week notices on as well. Okay. And then you'll have a schedule like that in front of you, you know, beforehand anyway, that'll be more accurate than if I did it now. Right.
We both work in that.
Well,
yeah.
so you'll see the mark on the wall. Before you leave.
Right. The awnings are kind of. Not making it sound like I'm calling it. I'm just gonna go by there and see if those are ordered.
One of them's
Is it something that's gotta get done?
What are these, so those, automatic, pulse? Those are pretty cool. Yeah,
Are yours wind controlled?
Yes.
I have one and it just, in the middle of the night, it will start moving.
Yes.
Oh, because the wind's picking up.
It has a wind control.
Close
so it
it.
doesn't just
And I've
fly
trained
out.
a 100-pound rotation right back to not bark. But she has to jump up on the middle of the bed
To
next
let
to
you
my
know.
wife. when
Just to
it's
let you know
moving.
the awnings are moving.
Yeah, because the awnings are behind, so she won't bark, but she has to jump up on the, of course, the whole bed.
We close ours.
Yeah, you put it on a sensor and have it, it's dark, they roll up.
Yeah, we just go. No, with the second.
Oh, you specify.
Okay, but we understand construction schedule. Both of us work in construction.
Oh, good.
So we get it. Yeah.
So you know I'm not pulling your leg.
No, we totally get it. We understand.
Some people look at me like, yeah, sure. See, that's the nice thing about this place is that you can clear the cycles.
They kept swearing up and down, oh yeah, we're doing it, oh yeah, we're doing it. It's like, no, and I feel really bad, I never saw that take. Happened to him.